All right, good evening. This is evening 2 of the Randall Standridge Music Virtual Orchestra reading sessions. Today we're going to hit on grades 2.5 to 5. I am Katie Labrie. I'm the editor for the Orchestra Catalog here. I was an orchestra director for many years and have transitioned into this role, which I absolutely love because I get to work with all these amazing composers that you're going to meet today. One of which kind of started it all. So I'm going to let him take the lead here. This is Randall Standridge, and he's going to tell us a little bit about Santa the Barbarian and the Pirates of the North Pole.
Thank you, Katie, and thank you to everybody for being here, both to our guests and to our composers. Very happy that you're joining us this evening. So I'll keep this really short. A few years back for band, I wrote this piece called Santa the Barbarian, mainly because I thought it was funny. I thought it was a funny idea for a character because, to me, Christmas is always so saccharine and so just sweet and jolly. I wanted to do the exact opposite of that. And so I wrote this piece called Santa the Barbarian, which on the band side of things has evolved into this whole saga. And we just released part 4 this year, Son of Santa the Barbarian. So anyway, I've been slowly translating the pieces for strings, and I've been very happy with how they translate. One thing I commented on in our reading session last week is the fact that my main instrument is percussion. And as I've gotten more into string writing, I've been delighted to see how many similarities there are between percussion and string technique and how those instruments express themselves. This piece, Santa the Barbarian and the Pirates of the North Pole, it's in 3/4, and it has a very swashbuckling, feel. It's just supposed to be Santa and his pirate elves going off to conquer more of Christmas. So I hope you enjoy it. It was a lot of fun to write, and I hope it's fun to play.
Santa the Barbarian had conquered all the land, and his foes had all fallen one by one at his hand. His conquest now finished, his mind turned to the seas, where new battles awaited. He thought in his glee. His elves as his crew, he set out from the shoal. Now comes Santa the Barbarian and the Pirates of the North Pole.
You can't hear just that part. I'm going to skip a little bit to later on, and you can see some of the fun things the string players get to do. Playing and singing at the same time. They can talk and play at the same time. Why not, chant and sing at the same time? Chant and play.
Yeah, last comment about it. Just remember to check with your administration before you program this because it is rated ARG.
Excellent. And actually, on that point, Cooper, could you pop on and tell us about what you did with the first Santa the Barbarian?
Yeah. So very quickly, what we do for our high school, where they're band and orchestra and choirs, we have this big elementary school concert. We bring all the elementary school kids. And so we did Santa the Barbarian #1. Our choir director, who's this big 6-foot tall football player, also came out with a beard and giant drumsticks and going ho ho ho, and all the kids are screaming like it's a big rock concert. The video is still somewhere up on Facebook, but we're planning on doing this one just to continue it on, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So
Thanks for that. I should mention too tonight, if you have questions, we have a lot of our composers with us today. So feel free to ask them questions in the chat or just say hello in the chat as we go, and we'd love to just check in with you. The next composer wasn't free tonight, but she had a few words to say about her piece of Lochs and Thistles.
Hello, my name is Christina Huss, and I am the composer of Lochs and Thistles. I am so excited to be able to speak with you today about my most special piece. Gosh, I was inspired to write this a year or so ago from a commission that I received, of all things, for a subject that is near and dear to probably everybody here, my music teacher from high school. After I wrapped my brain around the importance of what it is that I wanted to try to do, I made some key decisions. I wanted it to be Southern, because we're from the South, so I wanted to kind of have a little Southern flair to it, a little Appalachia. I wanted it to be reflective, like the younger remembering the older, as if maybe Appalachia is remembering Scotland a little. So I also wanted it to be lyrical and as beautiful as I could make it, all the while as playable as I could make it. I have tried to include melodic, memorable melodies, lush harmonies. Everybody gets a little bit of the beauty of Lochs. So I hope that in a few minutes when you hear it, that you will really have enjoyed my latest piece for string orchestra of Lochs and Thistles.
And what I really like about this one too, a lot of our grade 2.5s are totally playable in first position, but like the cellos, I mean, there's so many places where open A would just, kind of play around with the factor there and of the tone. And so I provide some optional fingerings as well, so they can play it in first position, or you can start to teach them a little bit about shifting as they grow. And who doesn't like a good little cello solo moment? And it does say solo or soli, so you can feature as many students as you'd like. Speaking of students, how many of you have kids of your own or kids of your own in the schools that like the Percy Jackson series? I know that is a big popular book in my household. And so I was inspired to write this Voyage of Odysseus. It's programmatic, it's a theme and variations. It's entirely, again, playable in first position, but there's some optional third position for the first violins at the end. for that little bit of differentiation. It goes through quite a few variations as Odysseus goes into different parts of his voyage, and we'll hear a few of them today. All these different people, and we get towards the if Odysseus gets his revenge or not. Yes, he does. It's very fun. All right, back to a more lyrical piece. I'm going to let Chris Evan Haas hop on here and tell us a little bit about Iridescence, very special piece.
Yeah, well, hello. I'm so excited to join you all. My name is Chris Evan Haas. I live in Jackson, Michigan. Honestly, I'm mostly on the band side of things, but I tested this piece out back in 2020, 21, because it was quite a meaningful commission. This is dedicated to a middle school violist who passed away in 2020. And the middle school she went to wanted to dedicate something to her legacy. So instead of being just a sad elegy about kind of the immediate emotions the staff and family felt, they wanted to do something hopeful and uplifting, and obviously focus on the viola itself. So they have a lot of beautiful, kind of lush, sweeping melodies. And the title is meant to convey a sense of that hopefulness, that almost childlike innocence and whimsy. So it is a slow ballad, but it has these kind of conflicting emotions behind it. So I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. I also will mention that we, when we did the recording out in Indianapolis with some of the symphony players there, they just absolutely loved this, and were like, the violist came up to me afterwards, not knowing the story, and was like, was this written for a violist? Like, they knew. I will say, though, I think bass players might say that it was written for them too, because this is a really good bass part. for that. And so I mentioned that bass part, is particularly challenging, and sometimes that is great because you have that hotshot bass player, and sometimes we don't have bass players. And so something that I have done in this catalog, all the pieces that have different cello and bass parts, I have created a free downloadable cello 2-part. So if you don't have a bass section, or if you need to beef up your bass section, it's a cello part written down an octave with the appropriate fingerings and such, so that you can make that work for your ensembles. We also, of course, have violin 3 parts where needed, and also a really cool feature is free downloadable percussion tracks for any of our pieces like Stand of the Barbarian and such that have those percussion features. And then we hit the rest of our 2s and 1s last week, and so you can check out that recording later if you'd like to see those lower grade levels. And on to the 3s. I'm going to invite Randall back to tell us a little bit about the Unbroken project and Blue Sky Horizon.
Thank you, Katie. So the Unbroken Project is a music initiative that I started a few years ago that has to deal with mental and emotional health. This is something that is really important to me as I live with depression and anxiety, and several people, most notably my mother within our family, live with these conditions as well. Becoming an adult and seeing, students, coworkers, friends, other family members that dealt with this as well, it's become part of my mission through, the means that are given to me, which in this case is my musical art, to be an advocate for these issues and also to just basically try to normalize those discussions. So the Unbroken Project was born out of that. There are several pieces in it on the band side, and we are slowly making them, their way over to the string side of things. Last year, we published the first work in the series for strings, which was called Fragile, which is, kind of reflects on the darker, more brooding aspects of mental health and, depression, anxiety. For a complete opposite, this piece called Blue Sky Horizon reflects on days that are good. Because like for myself, I deal with what's called cyclical depression, which means it comes in waves. And so some days are not great, and I call those my cloudy days when there's like storm clouds and things like that. But then some days I just wake up and, the inner part of my brain, the sky is clear, everything's positive, and it's great. And so I actually wrote this piece in one day when I woke up one day feeling that way. And so that's where the energy in this comes from. So I really hope you enjoy it.
I definitely know some groups that are planning on programming both Fragile and Blue Sky. It's a nice kind of dichotomy to do on a concert and have those conversations with your students. All right, next up, I believe Nick Repetto is here, and he can tell you a little bit about Apricity. Is Nick here? If not, I will. All right, so maybe he's not here. But Nick, he's busy being fabulous in California. He writes movies and as well as for TV, not TV. What do we do? String orchestra. He was a former teacher as well, so he kind of has his background all over. You will definitely see that cinematic vibe coming through. Apricity is a really cool word. You won't find it in any dictionary, but it means the warmth of the sun in the winter. And he tells a story about his dog going on a walk, in California where it gets so cold, right? But apparently it was a cold day, and they were going on the walk, and the dog just stopped in this one spot on the sidewalk where it was particularly warm because the sun was hitting it. Melodies are going to be passed around. It's very expressive. And a little bit shifting later on in the piece. I'm going to show you a little bit towards the beginning here, though. Gorgeous. Yeah, this is definitely gorgeous. And actually, we're going to go to Kevin's work next, which is on the complete opposite spectrum of music, the Kraken. I like to joke that it's a cracking good time. Kevin, tell us a little bit about your piece.
Well, hello everyone. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This is my 18th year in the orchestra classroom. I think the Kraken is a great example of what can happen when a pretty decent idea is made into something truly special with the help of an excellent string editor to guide it. It went through a lot of changes early on, and turned out really great. The piece begins with a slower section that I don't think we're actually going to hear tonight in the meeting, titled "The Churning Sea." Upper strings tremolo, followed by cello, viola, and second violin passing around the melody. Then the excitement takes off from there with a fast-paced chase between the Kraken and the frightened crew of the ship. There are many great shifting opportunities, in addition to a lot of fun rhythms. Plus, one of my favorite moments is a really fun bass solo moment later in the piece. This piece would be awesome for camps, all region and all district groups, in addition to strong middle school varsity and high school non-varsity groups.
Yeah, and I just think it's fun. Like, it's that energetic rhythm that you're going to hear. I think kids would really vibe with. So here we go. very fun. Also, what I love just about hearing these last like three pieces that are grade 3 so far, we had this, uplifting, energetic piece. We had this lush cinematic, thing, this driving dark piece, and now for something completely different. I think this would be a hit for your Spring Pops concert. Doug Spada, can you tell us a little bit about Varsity?
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Spada. Yeah, I'm always looking for new sources of inspiration. For this one, I will look to pop music, which I've always been a fan of. And so with this one, you're going to get high energy. You're going to get this pretty much the same rhythms and harmonies and forms that your students are seeing on their Spotify playlists. And it's going to be a really fun piece. It's already gotten a great reception. I'm really proud of that. And I think if you were to program this as a closer, people will be dancing up the aisles out of the auditorium. It's going to be a good time, and kids are going to have a great time with this one.
I agree. And it has some like tricky looking rhythms, but what's nice is that they're consistent. And like, so once you teach them, they know them and everybody gets them. Like you pass around those rhythms to everybody. So here's a little taste of Varsity. Along with, it has like an optional drum set or you can do the body percussion, which is a lot of fun too. Very fun. And on to our grade 3.5. We're just flying through today. We'll start back in that lyrical realm. And we're going to invite Cooper back on to talk about Celestial Night.
Alrighty, thank you very much. And I love the cover that Randall put on there, because that really, I think, epitomizes the piece, the idea of looking up in the starry sky and having that sense of awe and wonder and just going, wow, right? So that's kind of what, musically speaking, I was going for here. So you're going to have some different harmonic moments going on, 7 and 9 chords and different things like that. And some surprises. So hopefully it's something that is beautiful and awe-inspiring for you and your students.
Yeah, I'm going to just echo that. Like, that was something that really drew me to it, is that the chords didn't necessarily go exactly where I thought they would go. And I think that makes it so interesting. It wasn't just like, oh, okay, and now we're on a 1 chord, it's really creative harmonically. great for working on phrasing and just how those lines interweave between each other. And as I've been doing tonight, just kind of ping-ponging now is into something completely different. Imminent Danger by Jennifer Rose is a piece for strings with an audio effects backtrack, which is not something that I've really seen in our string lit world, especially like at a grade 3.5. I'll let Jen tell you a little bit more about it here.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Rose, and I am the composer of Imminent Danger for string orchestra. This piece is actually released for band and audio track last year with Randall Standridge, and this year I'm super pumped and pleased to be able to release it for string orchestra and audio track. The cool thing is, I think, that you can actually perform the string orchestra and the band piece with audio track together because they're both in the same key. I'm really proud of this piece. It came out of just inspired by, I guess, it was inspired by just experimenting with different sounds. It was written originally during the pandemic, and I was playing around with GarageBand and some loops on GarageBand, and I came across one that I really liked called Imminent Danger. And I started changing things and morphing things around and decided to put some string parts with it. And so it was like a separate instrument. And that's kind of how I treat all my audio tracks at this point, is as another instrument within the ensemble, within the performing arts ensemble. So it's not just accompanimental. Anyway, I'm super pumped about this piece. I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed writing it. And thank you so much for listening. Bye.
And I will add, she wrote it as a string piece first. So I don't know how the band got it first, but I'm really excited that we have the original string version here. Here's about the first half of it. And let me tell you a little bit about how to, someone want to say something? All right, I'll tell you a little about how to get those tracks. So if you go to our website and go to any product page, you scroll down, you'll see this additional materials. And here is the audio track for Imminent Danger. And you'll also see way at the bottom maybe is the cello 2 parts. That's where you'll find those as well. And so you can play along. And what's nice with that particular play along track, or any play along track that we have, is it acts as a metronome for the kids so they can practice at home with it too. So that's kind of cool. Next, I want to introduce you to a wonderful educator from the fine state of Georgia, and that is Perry Holbrook.
Hi, everyone. I'm a string teacher from Georgia, 27th year of teaching, unbelievably. Acadian Solstice was originally a commission for an orchestra performing at the Indiana Music Educators Convention. It's a pastoral lyric piece based on experiences I had while hiking in Acadia National Park. The orchestra director wanted something that sounded like, well, frankly, Joe Hisaishi, the great anime composer, so that kind of inspired me to write this. I wrote this piece to facilitate teaching lyrical playing phrasing and vibrato. Acadian Solstice highlights an orchestra's violin section and has a lovely violin solo. There's quite a bit of third position in the violin, but your violinist will find that it lies really well on their instrument. Cellos and violas have their own themes as well. Acadian Solstice would work as a great lyrical piece for any concert. It's also a good evaluation piece. I'm lucky the state of Georgia's already put it on our list, and I just found out that my primary middle school feeder is going to play it at the National Orchestra Festival competition this year in Atlanta. So anyway, thank you so much for listening, and this is Acadian Solstice.
That's a good plug. We'll be there at ASTA to support it. That's wonderful. All right. Kind of builds there to the end there a little bit. All right, let's end our 3.5s with something a little more spirited or differently spirited. Jeff, can you tell us about March of the Defenders?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Jeff Hart coming here from Delaware, so the first state. So I am band director. I have been for past 16 years, and I just thought, why should bands have all the fun with marches? Let's give orchestra a chance. So March of the Defenders is like a powerful driving kind of superhero inspiration. A lot of G minor starting with, and a lot of ostinatos that you'll hear in the recording, melodies getting passed around between the different sections. And then it changes key into G major, and you'll hear the same melody, but it's now augmented. So it's kind of like a more hopeful theme. The other things about it that the students would learn would be pizzicato. There's a lot of layered entrances, a lot of extended harmony, and then there's a key change at the end into D minor. So they're really playing in 3 different keys. Hope you enjoy, and thanks so much for having me.
And I'll say this is nothing like a band march. I think it's very funny. right. So that's a little bit about our threes. These, of course, like I said, have the cello 2 and violin 3 where applicable. You'll see that more shifting, advanced keys, bow techniques. And then often you'll also see inside our covers will list the educational goals right there. So like, for example, Jump, which I wrote last year, it lists all the different types of jumps they're going to learn. It's about shifting and DC alpha and A's and codas and all these things. So it's all right there for you. And I'm going to ask, I think he is here now. Nick Repetto joined us, and so I was going to let him speak a little bit back on Apricity if you'd like to say anything.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Yes, hi. I think you saw my video earlier, so I'll just say, yeah, I hope you enjoy Apricity. I wanted to write a piece that just, I don't know, sounded lush and had like major seconds and all these like a violin solo. I think I wrote that explicitly when I was like taking notes. And yeah, and what you heard and what I said in the video is kind of like what I felt at the time. And luckily now the weather's not 120 degrees. We're back at the 70s. So it feels more like Apricity, I guess, under the sun. So I hope you enjoy it, buy it, have your kids play it, and yeah, enjoy it.
Thanks for popping in, Nick. All right, on to our grade 4s. I must say, I think this is my favorite cover. And by the way, Randall creates all the covers himself. He designs them. If you're looking very carefully, that is Johannes Brahms as Santa Claus. So I'm going to invite Karen Neidhold to come on and talk a little bit about Jolly Old Variations.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karen Wiegand Neidhold. And this was initially a commission for the Reno Philharmonic. They have a Sistema type program they call RPAC, and they wanted to feature the students on our winter concert years ago. And over the years, I've transmogrified it into a string piece, and it works as a string piece in that you can play it standalone, or you could invite young students to come and play the Jolly Old Saint Nick theme with you at the end. We have Brahms, the Romantic style, and then we have that hint of Haydn in there. So the students really get a lot of technique and style, especially with the bow. And so I hope you enjoy it, and it's well received at Christmas concerts.
Yeah, and that beginning part we've actually included in the score that has the violin, viola, cello, bass parts. So if you wanted to pass those out to kids, that's available for you to do. So it's really, really special. We're not going to get to the third section. There's like 3 sections in this, but we'll show you a sneak peek of the first 2.
Katie, I just want to add
Yeah.
that the original subtitle was "With Apologies to Johannes."
And and Haydn and all the. I love
Oh
there's
yeah,
20
everybody
composers on
else.
this.
Yes.
Yeah, very fun. All right, next is one of mine. It's called Overjoyed, and it was written for a summer camp. Their theme for the year was music unifies us, and so I was trying to come up with something that went with that. And the idea of the Summer Olympic Games came into my head, and also the idea of Beethoven's Ode to Joy being such a unifying theme throughout the past few centuries. And so we're going to see a little bit at the beginning and then some of the end. The Ode to Joy, I will tell you, is really sneaky in there. It's just barely until you get to the end, and then it's there, but a little rhythmically modified. Has lots of soaring lines over these like kind of celebratory motor rhythms. The Olympics there at the end there. And here's the it just makes me happy. So there you go. Playing test next week. Very good. That's hilarious. Yeah, that 16th note pattern, I promise, is just all scales. All right. Next is a composer that I'm excited to have join our catalog. Joshua Resnikow has created this really fiery, exciting piece called Ghost of Bohemia. Is Josh on? Yes.
Yes, I am here. Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. And my name is Joshua Resnikow, and I live and work in the eastern Iowa, Cedar Rapids area, teaching high school orchestra. I'm in my 26th year of public education. And I also have the opportunity to direct a local community orchestra and composition at an area university. Ghost of Bohemia was originally written for our high school symphony strings ensemble. I was looking to feature some of the many strengths of our group, as well as some wonderful soloists that we're blessed to have in the ensemble. And it was also my daughter's senior year, so I didn't want to sort of like call her out on there, but I wanted to do something special for her senior year. I had a blast writing this piece. This is one of those experiences where the piece just wrote itself. The motives, the melodies, the solos, the form just all clicked when I was writing it. I just wish all the compositions that we were doing were this easy to write. The piece features a lot of energy, like Katie said, and for all the sections of the orchestra, but also features an opportunity for some soloists, particularly a first violin and a cello soloist. They're not real long, but they are short and they're kind of pivotal to the piece. And there's also some short solos within the other areas of the orchestras, like within the seconds and the violas. Ghost Bohemia could easily be used as a concert opener or closer, as well as a contest piece. And it should be a lot of fun for your audiences to listen to. And finally, thanks for Randall and Katie for publishing the piece. And thanks for all of you for considering it for your ensembles.
Yeah. All right. We're going to listen to kind of some different chunks of it here. Goes into like a tango vibe for a little while in the center here, and then let's see the end. And play all the D's, as many as you can. All right, we have one more piece for you, but before we get to that, I just want to tell you a little bit about what makes RSM special. I'm going to ask Randall actually to hop on and tell us about these first two items on my list because I think they're really unique to our company.
All right. So first of all, again, to all of our composers and to all of our guests, thank you for being here tonight. So just so you'll know a little bit more about me, I was a band director for 12 years. I worked in a very small school, which I still live just 15 miles from even now. And so all of that is to say that I live in the real world. I understand what, music programs need and what they deal with on a daily basis. So one of the first things we did when I started the company is we made sure that we had copyable parts. If you look at the front of any of our scores, you will see that there is a legal license for you to copy scores so that you can have as many parts as you need for your players. The only thing you can't, well, there's two things you can't do. We have copyable parts, but it is not copyable scores. So if you are going to take something to festival and you need multiple copies of scores, those do have to be purchased. By the way, on that subject, one thing I think directors always forget is that score purchases do go to support our composers. They do get a royalty off those as well as an entire piece. And I think directors forget that sometimes. But anyway, so you have copyable parts. The only other thing is you cannot share them with other programs. So, we don't want you sending them to the orchestra down the street. But you do have a license to copy them for all your kids, as well as to share them through what I would call closed circuit digital media. So in other words, like if you have a private Google Classroom, something like that, where the outside world can't get into your files, then you are allowed to share that way. Also, all of our pieces are available in print as well as digital copy. You can, of course, we've got them on JW Pepper for e-print, but we also have them from our website. We've actually upgraded our website over the past year, where if you do a digital purchase on our site, it is within a couple minutes delivered to your email, watermarked for your organization. My only caveat with that is please make sure you spell everything correctly. I cannot even tell you how many times we've had to deal with people putting in their own email address wrong. So just make sure we spell things correctly. I cannot emphasize that enough. But here at RSM, we are a very composer-friendly company, and we're also a very educator-friendly company. Our pieces also come with license to share in non-for-profit situations, so on YouTube channels that are not monetized, streaming things that are not monetized, Facebook Live, whatever. We want you to showcase your kids and showcase your programs in the best light possible. And anything we can do to help with that, we are happy to do.
We also just love giving back to you all with freebies. So the first one we came out with Orchestra, Randall made an arrangement of Pomp and Circumstance. It's about a grade 2. It has percussion as well if you'd like to add that in. And if you haven't already gotten the handy dandy randy standy warm-ups, I always like to joke that I wish my name was Candy, because then it could be the handy randy standy and candy orchestra warm-ups. This is a great way to start off any day. It has finger patterns, some tone development things, rhythm patterns, some scale patterns, what else? Articulation and a chorale. So it's just like a one sheet front and back for the kids, and has just everything they need to get going. We also have a Christmas. Oh, yeah.
I was just going to jump in and say, one thing, because we have a similar set with the band, and we're treating these as what I would call modular warm-ups. Long term, we're going to be adding modules to it. We just recently released our newest modules for band, and in the future, whenever we find time, because we are pretty pressed right now, but we will be adding modules onto our string side as well.
Yeah, there'll definitely some really cool warm-up things coming up in the future. We have a Christmas medley pack and a Hanukkah medley pack. Those are great, especially for those younger grades that just want to play the melody. Oh, I said medley. I meant melody. Melody pack. Coming at some point soon. Also, these Yetudes. A few of our pieces have them already included, but otherwise, in those additional materials, you'll see these and they're rehearsal guides where you can have a moment where everybody practices the melody, or here's that motor rhythm from Jeff Hart's piece, but it's put in a scale or something like that, just to get you set up for, again, warming up your orchestras. We have those free downloadable cello 2 parts and free percussion tracks. And you all are some of the first to know about a brand new thing that's going to be coming out next month, and that is multi-level music. So these are 3 pieces that I have written in the past few years that are for multiple orchestras. Polar Vortex has that driving rhythm vibe. It's written for a standalone grade 3 orchestra, or you can add a grade 2.5, 1.5, and even some open string parts. Adams was written for a school that's really special. They have everything from grade, really high, but in this case, it's going to be grade 4, down to students who have severe physical or intellectual disabilities. And so not only do we have open string parts, but I even have adapted parts that are written larger and whatnot, to try to make sure we can include as many people in the performance as possible. That one's written where the grade 2.5 is a standalone, and then you can add the 4 above and the 1.5.5 and adapted parts below. Folk Tune Festival is all those pieces that you teach at the beginning level. So it's Twinkle, it's Mary Had a Little Lamb, Hot Cross Buns, French folk song. So those beginners can play the melodies. There's also open string parts. But then we have like kind of a middle school level and then maybe a high school level that can play along with them and make them sound like this big symphonic orchestra. So I'm really excited for you all to get to check those out, probably in October. But here is what makes our company really so special. And it's all these people you've gotten to meet today, as well as all these other wonderful faces that you see. It's a joy to get to just live with their music day in and day out and see all the transitions and growth. But really just to get to share that with all of you and your students. So thank you to our composers. And we have one more who couldn't be here tonight because she has a concert, but Nubia Don Juan is going to tell you a little bit about her wonderful piece.
Hello everyone, my name is Nubia Jaime Don Juan. I am Mexican composer, and I'm so glad to introduce you to my piece, Su Merced Don José for string orchestra. This piece was inspired in my great uncle, José Merced. He passed away since 23 years ago, and I wrote this piece thinking about him, how fun his life was, and also the sadness he left us when he left this world. Then I would love for you to enjoy this music. So thank you for playing my music.
All right, and you're going to hear these fiery rhythms and in the second part, but it starts with this beautiful elegy. Recapitulation, and then goes back into a small moment of elegy, and then she kind of changes vibes to a more happy memories of her uncle, her great uncle, and the piece. So Randall put in the comments that he loves this piece so much, and that's how I feel about all these pieces. I just have just loved the last year of my life getting to hear these every day, and I hope you all found something that works for your program. And if you need anything throughout the year, just let us know. Like the other day, we added a third violin part to Josh's piece for a director. We are here for you as teachers, and just want to get you what you need. So we're going to wrap up the evening. Thank you all for coming. And we look forward to seeing you at our next event or ASTA. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and then I'll stick around if anybody has anything they want to ask. But otherwise, you're free to go. Have a great night.